Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. My question tonight is, are our businessmen and women scared of our public representative? Or are our businessmen and women scared of the government? This is the question we asked tonight. Let's get right into the show. You know, in Tamil Nadu, there is this very famous hotel chain called Annapurna. Very famous. The owner of this hotel, Annapurna, was having an interaction with our Honorable Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Now, while having this discussion, the owner, he asked Nirmala Sitharaman, he said, "Ma'am, there is a 5% GST on sweets, 12% on savories, and 18% on cream-filled buns, but no GST on plain buns." You know, he said, the customer often jokes, they say, "Just give me the bun, I will add the cream and jam myself." So, he was actually, all of this, he was using it as a humor. But he was also making a point that, Baba, listen, like a lot of us believe, that the GST system is not justified. The GST system needs reform. This is what he was trying to say. In fact, he went on to request a uniform GST rate, which a lot of us are also kind of talking about, a uniform GST rate for all food items, explaining that Tamil Nadu, sweets and savories are frequently eaten together. So he says, and like I said, like we all do, that GST systems need reforms. The way it's all stacked up is not correct. It is harming the business, especially the MSMEs, the micro and small scale industries, then helping them. Okay. This is what he said. Now, following this meeting, there was another video where the Annapurna owner is seen apologizing to the finance minister. He says, I am not part of any political party. Please forgive me, he says. Please forgive me. He was telling the Honorable Finance Minister, the Finance Minister who is supposed to be, if you go by what Pradhan Mantri says, who calls himself Pradhan Sevak, and the Finance Minister who reports to the Pradhan Sevak, the Prime Minister, she was possibly questioned, and later on this businessman had to fold his hands and say, "Sorry, I am not from any political party, Baba. My apologies, forgive me." Why? Why? What made that businessman go and ask for forgiveness to his public representative? What kind of democracy is this? Are we not allowed to ask questions? Because if media asks questions, we are aided. If media asks questions, we get notices from income tax and whatever tax. If an opposition act asks questions, they are CBI and there is AD who comes and raids them, puts them behind bars. So are we not supposed to ask questions? Acha, now, let us not take this as a stray case. Let us not take this as a stray case. You see, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw had once criticized the central government, alleging it does not want to hear any criticism of the economy. Speaking in India Today, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw said any criticism that has been offered from the Indian Incorporated, which is the Indian corporates, on the economic reforms and economy has been viewed as anti-national or anti-Modi. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, one of the top businesswomen in this country. She went on to say that many of my fellows in the industry are afraid to speak their minds. Nobody wants to be perceived as anti-government. This is what a business person in India feels. Rahul Bajaj, in 2019, he said that during UPA 2, we could abuse anyone. You are doing good work. But if we want to openly criticize you, there is no confidence. You will appreciate that. I may be wrong, but everyone feels that. He says, boss, in UPA's time, we could abuse everybody. He said, no, you are doing very well, but we are not very confident whether we can criticize you. We are not confident. We are scared. Rahul Bajaj, 2019. Of course, later on, Amit Shah went on to say that, no, you can always criticize. It's a different issue. You see, why is it that speaking against the Prime Minister, speaking against the government is seen as speaking against the country? We saw a few days back with Rahul Gandhi also. He says something against the Prime Minister, he says something against the government, and a lot of people, not the whole country of course, a lot of people says, oh baap re, anti-national baba, speaking against the country. You see, Prime Minister, government is not the country. Country different, Prime Minister different. Country different, Narendra Modi different, country different, Nirmala Sitharaman different, country different, Finance Minister different. A Finance Minister's criticizing a Finance Minister's policy does not mean that you are criticizing the country. And if a businessman, and which most of the businessmen are today, have to just agree to everything that the government says or sing glories of the government like some of the businessmen, let me not name them, but we all know some of the businessmen singing glory of this government to survive, it is a sad state. It is a sad state, and that is disservice to this nation. For your profits, you are singing glory, regardless whether that you mean what you say or you don't. And you've seen a lot of businessmen doing this. You know, I want to also draw your attention to this gentleman called Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a South African. He now stays in the United States of America. Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world. This gentleman who stays in United States, who was not born in United States, who stays in United States, you know, the kind of criticism, the way he criticizes the Joe Biden, the current president of United States, is not funny. He says, I cannot see myself voting for Biden, facilitating illegal immigration. This is what he was accusing President Biden for. Biden's strategy is simple. 1, get as many illegal in the country as possible. 2, legalize them to create permanent majority, a one-party state, so on and so forth. Every day, if you look at Elon Musk's tweet, he has 1 or 2 or 3 tweets criticizing Joe Biden. A South African who stays in United States, works in United States, earns in United States, and criticizes the President of United States. Nobody calls him anti-national. Nobody calls him anti-national. Nobody calls him a foreigner. Are here to MP who was married to an Indian citizen who had come from Italy, even that lady is not spared. If she ever says anything, there is this concept of Italian and so on and so forth. This person from South Africa in United States, earning out of United States, criticizing the government every day, and nobody questions him. Nobody calls him anti-national. Now that's democracy. That's democracy for you. And you know, the last point I want to make, you know, the Prime Minister in various occasions, in 2015, 2016, various occasions, wherever he had gone out and even in the country, had made statements like, you know, earlier on people were very upset with India, they were sad that they were born in India and all that. Now, businessmen, those days you wanted to get out of India as much as possible. But now things are different. Now things, after he took over, after his government happened, things are different, he says. Now businessman wants to come back. This is what Narendra Modi says. Just hear this clip.
एक समय था जब लोग यार पता नहीं पिछले जन्म में क्या पाप किया था, हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए, ये कोई देश है, ये कोई सरकार है, ये कोई लोग है, चलो छोड़ो चले जाए कहीं और लोग निकल पड़ते थे। कुछ वर्षों में तो हम ये भी देखते थे, उद्योग जगत के लोग कहते भाई अब तो यहां व्यापार नहीं करना है, अब यहां नहीं रहना है। और ज्यादातर लोगों ने तो एक पैर बाहर रख ही दिया था।
Can I tell you some facts? The fact is that more than 6 lakh Indian, this 2021, the data is from 2021, more than 6 lakh Indians renounced citizenship in the last 5 years. This report has come from the Ministry of Home Affairs, and Ministry of Home Affairs informed this data to the Lok Sabha. The Minister of State for Home, Nityananda Rai, then in a written reply said that in 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020, the number of Indians who gave up citizenship stood at 1,34,561, 1,44,017 and 85,248 respectively. According to Global Wealth Migration Review, in 2019, India came second only to China when it comes to a high net worth individual leaving the country. As many as 7,000 high net worth individuals left India in 2019. These are facts. These are facts. So when somebody says,
और मैं आज विश्वास से कह सकता हूं कि अलग अलग जीवन के गणमान्य लोग, बड़े बड़े साइंटिस्ट क्यों ना हो, विदेशों में कितनी ही कमाई क्यों ना होती हो, उससे कम कमाई होती हो तो भी आज भारत वापस आने के लिए उत्सुक हो रहे हैं, आनंदित हो रहे हैं। अभी तो मैं बोल रहा था और वहां से आवाज आई थी हम आने को तैयार है।
when somebody says that Indian businessmen are wanting to come back, the actual ground reality is exactly the reverse. Businessmen are leaving the country, and this is the point I am trying to prove, because a businessman is scared to ask his or her government questions. The businessman is scared to criticize the government, saying that what kind of GST are you executing? The businessman is scared to tell the government that, listen, you know what? Your policies do not help businesses. Your policies would be helping a few businessmen, but not the business community. Businessmen are scared. So they pack their bags and go. You know, another last data I will give you before I call it a day. According to a data compiled by Ruchir Sharma, head of emerging markets and the chief of global strategist at Morgan Stanley Investment Management and his team, 2.1% of India's rich left the country in 2017 alone. In fact, India has lost the highest percentage of high net worth individuals, those with net asset of more than $1 million to migration since 2014. So, this is the reality. This is the reality. This is how our people, our businessmen, पंगा लेना नहीं चाहता है, नहीं लेने का है पंगा, पंगा लेगा लफड़ा होएगा, लास्ट में जाके सॉरी बोलना पड़ेगा. So पंगे नहीं लेते, I will jump, I will go to some other countries. This is reality. So when our good Prime Minister goes across the globe and says that, you know, before 2014, people were worried, why were they born here and how would I do business here and all, and now everybody wants to come back. Well, this is what the fact check says. This is what the reality is. You see, before I end the show, let me tell you, a person who criticizes the government policies, a person who criticizes the government decisions, is a person who really is bothered about the country and about the performance of that government. And that person is not necessarily against the government or against a particular individual or against the leader or and some political agenda or some foreign agenda and all that. This has to stop. A, it sounds cliched, by the way, and B, it's stupid to think that everybody who talks against the government or who has a point of view or who does not agree to the government are anti-nationals and anti-government and anti-country and all that. It is actually stupid to think that. And if you actually promote this idea, this country will be filled with yes men. And that yes men would be the biggest anti-nationals that this country has ever seen. That's the point I wanted to make. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.